So get out of the scarcity mindset, stop over glorifying the holidays and the holiday food, and just embrace more of an abundant mindset. These foods are always available. You can have them today, you can have them tomorrow, you can have them months from now. And that should give you a bit more freedom and flexibility. And then go ahead and work the foods in when you understand what your body needs nutritionally and you understand that there is a place for these foods, and find the good in the food as well. Find the good in it. Did you know the average woman spends 7 years of her life dealing with period pain? Wave By believes it's time to get those years back. Founded by an OBGYN, Wave By is the first science-backed solution that regulates menstrual cycle and reduces period pain before it even starts. Wave By has 3 products. By Irregularity from Wave By is designed to help your cycle find its rhythm again. Packed with clinically studied nutrients like inositol, magnesium, and chasteberry, By Irregularity supports healthy ovulation, hormone balance, and smoother, more predictable cycles without prescription or hormones. By Cramps and By Bad Cramps are the proactive premenstrual products that target the prostaglandin messengers that cause cramps and heavy bleeding, so your life doesn't have to stop every month. Think of it as the new Midol, backed by science, built by women, and designed to keep you feeling like yourself. Join the thousands who have already said it's absolutely life-changing, including myself. I've been taking this product every day for nearly 6 months. I take By Irregularity and By Cramps, and it has absolutely reduced my cramping and regulated my cycle. It is super predictable. So head to waveby.co and use the code Lindsey Cortes for 10% off. Say bye to irregular or painful cycles and hi to your true rhythm. Because when your cycle's in sync, everything else just flows. Lindsey Cortes for 10% off your Wave By purchase. Hello, listeners. Welcome. If you are new here, I'm Lindsey Cortes. I'm a registered dietitian, sports dietitian, and the host of this podcast. And if you are returning, if you are a loyal listener, thank you. Welcome back. I've got a solo episode for you today because it's November, and essentially we're in what people consider the holiday season. I'm wearing a sweater. I've got a nice little cold going on, some sinus pressure. So I'm in the season, so they say, even though actually I'm in Texas and it's still rather warm right now. But I want to feel like I'm in the fall season. So I'm wearing my sweater today to have this conversation about nutrition and fueling around the holidays. So I mean, what is it? This is here in the U.S. I'm based in the U.S. You know, when we talk about this holiday season, it's kind of seems to be kicked off around Halloween time, which just passed. And we've got Halloween, and then we've got Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas, and we have New Year. So we have these 4 holidays that are within like an 6 to 8 week span. Actually, I haven't done the full math there. Yeah, between Halloween, I think Thanksgiving to New Year's is 6 weeks. So maybe 6 to 10 week span. We've got these multiple holidays back to back. And, we have holidays all year round, but I think it's the closeness of them combined with the food focus. Obviously, Halloween is all about candy. I mean, it's not all about candy, but it mostly is all about candy. Go trick-or-treating, get candy. Dress up, get candy. So Halloween's really about candy. And then Thanksgiving is a meal. The whole point of the holiday is to celebrate a meal in order to celebrate our gratitude and thankfulness for family, loved ones. Of course, I was born and raised in New England. And so, we used to do all our festivities surrounding the Pilgrim's Landing and all of that. And so, there's meaning behind kind of this land that we live on. And really, ultimately, Thanksgiving was a feast that actually the Pilgrims shared with the native people. And some people have chosen over the years to not celebrate it in that same way. And I understand that. But Thanksgiving is a meal. It's a holiday focused on a meal, right? And then we've got Christmas, which is a holiday, for those of us religious, focused on the birth of Jesus Christ. And yet Christmas has truly been, what do they call it? Just tagged by Hallmark. And it's a Christmas season. and it's about goodies and candy canes and peppermint mocha and Christmas cookies and pies and gifts, which very often involve food. And then we have these parties. We have holiday parties. We have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and there's lots of food involved. We turn around a week later, we have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which isn't specific to food, but if there's a New Year's Eve party, there's going to be food there. And actually, when I did live in North Florida for some time, I did learn some, I think it's more Southern culture thing of some specific foods and meals that are served on New Year's Day, which are supposed to provide luck for the year. So there's just food involved. And what does that mean for us? It means we are nervous about gaining weight. We are nervous about staying on track. We are nervous that all of this extra sugar, calories, and fat might not be good for us. And then sometimes because we're nervous about it, we find ourselves restricting, not participating, feeling left out. Or maybe you do participate and then you deal with feeling guilt or shame, which leads to some disordered behaviors of then kind of after a big Thanksgiving meal being like, okay, I'm going to diet hard until Christmas time. Maybe you put more pressure on yourself to be active and exercise. Or maybe this is why when New Year's Day comes around, people can just be so extreme with their New Year's resolutions and goals. It is just a mental, I very often speak about the mental relationship with food and not wanting people to feel restricted. But the reality is that if you don't restrict yourself, and I don't want you to, I want you to have food freedom throughout the holidays and all year round. But there's the flip side, which is that some people then are eating all this food and, 6 to 10 weeks later, January comes around and they really don't feel good. They really feel sluggish and tired and they're just not feeling like themselves. And it's like, well, yeah, because we haven't had balance in our diet. So my conversation today, I want to, it's funny because I've had this conversation on the podcast almost every year. I was reminded with a Facebook memory that popped up that I have had this podcast for 5 years now. I started it in November of 2020 is when I released my first episode. So I am 5 years in. And I think it was episode number 3. I talked about holiday food anxiety. And then the next year in 2021, I did it again. And in 2022, I did it again. I think I skipped talking about it in 2023 because I was like, I've already done this 3 times. And then last year in 2024, if I'm remembering correctly, I did talk about it, but briefly, because I was like, I've already talked about this. So I did like a small episode. But I'm here talking about it again because I asked some of my clients and close family and friends, said, what are some solo episodes I should do? And they said, well, it's the holidays. You got to talk about food in the holidays. So I'm here to say today that feeling like I'm somebody who I feel like, oh man, I've said this all before, and yet it needs to be said again. It might need to be said every year. After talking about this so often and being somebody who, I'm in my midlife right now, whatever, but I've experienced this every year, many, many years in a row, and I've helped guide people through it as a dietitian many years in a row. I think I really have 2 major takeaways for how to approach your nutrition and fueling throughout the holiday season. And the first tip is to really get out of that scarcity mindset that sees this as some special holiday season. I do think the holidays are special. I do want you to enjoy the holidays and all that they have to offer. The parties, the socialization, the gifts, the being with family and friends, the gratitude, and yes, the food. I want you to enjoy it and embrace it. However, it does come around every year. We don't need to eat all the cookies and all the pies this year because they're going to be here again next year. And I'm going to go one step further. We have holidays all year round. We talk about pies on Thanksgiving and pies on Christmas, but you can bake a pie for Valentine's Day. You can bake a pie for Easter. You can have a pie on, I don't know, June 20th. You can have a pie whenever you want to. Holidays are year-round. You can have these foods don't have to be specific. And it's funny because, typically when you learn about food culture, these foods are specific to whatever the holiday is, perhaps the religion, what is historic and traditional to that day. And then it's also seasonal, right? Like, why do we eat pumpkins and cranberries on Thanksgiving? Well, the reason is because in New England, where Thanksgiving was founded, in Massachusetts, really, pumpkins are grown in the fall, early winter season. And so are cranberries as well. Right? That's the food that was available. But the reality is now you can buy canned pumpkin year round. So we're not going out to the pumpkin field. And then I'm laughing about this too because I live in San Antonio, Texas. Pumpkins don't grow here. We don't have pumpkins at all. And yet, why do we feel like we have to eat pumpkins on Thanksgiving when we don't grow pumpkins here? So let me continue this conversation because my husband is Puerto Rican or 50% Puerto Rican. He grew up in a Puerto Rican household in South Florida. And actually, he never ate pumpkin and he never ate casseroles on Thanksgiving. He didn't even know what the word casserole was until he met me, which was in his mid-30s. Okay? Don't take offense to this if you don't know what a casserole is. But because I'm laughing about it and I've had to teach him and I've had to make him casseroles and say, this is a casserole. He didn't know what a casserole was. And I'm like, that's like, one, I grew up eating casseroles as part of dinner all the time. And two, that's like that in my head. I was like, that's what you eat on Thanksgiving. But no, he had Spanish rice on Thanksgiving. He had plantains on Thanksgiving. He ate what was culturally appropriate for his family, which was, hey, we're going to have a big family meal to celebrate us being together. And we're going to cook the foods that we know as a family and as a culture. And so I think, and my perspective on this has changed quite a bit. Like I said, too, I'm a native New England girl where Thanksgiving is in the cold fall season of New England where these foods, it's like, this is where it happened. And then also Christmas, like it is cold out. We are inside. It is snowy. But now, like I'm married to a Puerto Rican husband who didn't celebrate that. He grew up in Florida and now we live in Texas together. It's not snowing on Christmas. People talk about the holiday season, how it's winter and it's cold out and they're not being as active. And I'm like, well, the past 7 years I've been living in San Antonio and it's the nicest weather in December. That's the nicest time of year for us to get outside and move. I remember prior to having kids, Christmas Day, me and my husband went out for a beautiful trail run in the morning. It was the most perfect weather for a long trail run. It had nothing to do with compensation of the holidays. It was just, this is the season for us to do that. And so my point here is that some of us really struggle with eating around the holidays because of, I'm going to blame it on Hallmark. And I do love Hallmark, but, just that idea of commercializing holidays. But the reality is that you don't have to eat pecan pie and pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. You don't have to eat casseroles and Christmas cookies, sugar cookies on Christmas, just because that's what the world is kind of telling you to do. You can if you want to. You can if you enjoy those foods, but you do not have to. And then on top of that, the reality is you can make sugar cookies any time of year. You know what I actually like doing? I love making sugar cookies for Valentine's Day and painting them pink and red and doing heart shapes instead of Christmas trees. You can do sugar cookies for Easter. You can do sugar cookies for the 4th of July and get some cut out star shapes and get some cut out American flag shapes and frost them and do American flags. So you can have these foods any time of year. And so I'm going to go back to what my tip was, if you've lost me a little bit here, is to get out of this scarcity mindset that, what is a scarcity mindset? It's thinking, I only have so much time. I only have this holiday season. I have to cram it all in. I have to do all the things. I have to eat all the food. I have to make all the cookies. I have to go to all the parties. Scarcity mindset makes you feel like you're limited in your time or your resources, and it puts that pressure on you to like participate, basically. And if you can get out of that and tap into an abundant mindset, this mindset of abundance to think, this happens every year. Holidays happen all year round. I can eat these foods whenever I want to. I can eat them on Thanksgiving, or I can eat them a week later. I can eat them 3 months later. I can have them whenever. Then it takes away that pressure and stress around that one day or this one season. And this is very much in alignment with my thoughts. If you ever hear me talk about the phrase of like food freedom, it's that freedom and permission to have foods that you want and when you want them and the amount that you want. And a lot of people get overwhelmed by this. I understand. You're thinking, how can I just have no restrictions on food ever? But because it actually, the freedom means it's your choice. And when the choice is yours, you get to make a choice on what is right for fueling my body, what will make me feel good physically, what will make my digestion good, what will make my mind happy, what will help me socialize and be present, what will help me embrace this day and this holiday, as opposed to just eating the food because you feel like you have to. Or the flip side too, not eating the food because you're scared of it. Fans, I'm pausing the conversation again to check in on you. Are you concerned that you have REDS? That's relative energy deficiency in sport. It's a syndrome of not ideal health consequences and performance consequences that all stem from the idea that you're not fueling optimally or fueling enough for your sport needs. I've become an expert in this over the years because unfortunately, a lot of female athletes struggle with this. We have research that shows sometimes up to 90% of female athletes might be suffering from at least one of the side effects of REDS. Other research says that up to 45% of female athletes are struggling with disordered eating. These are big statistical numbers, and I don't like it. I'm here to help you become fierce, fit, and fueled. So first and foremost, head to lindseycortes.com/REDS to learn more about REDS, listen to past podcast episodes, and take our free REDS quiz to see if this might be a concern for you. From there, I've got 3 ways to help you. 1, download the REDS Recovery Guide and start taking action right away. 2, join our REDS Recovery membership. For a very affordable $15 a month, you will have access to me as a sports dietitian to educate and empower you to fuel better. We meet once a week for live calls, Q&A. You have access to the recordings if you can't join live, and a community group chat to support, encourage, and motivate you along the way to fuel fiercely. Last, spots are limited for one-on-one help, but I can help you personally through one-on-one coaching, be it my Fast Track program, the Female Athlete System of Transformation, or perhaps Fuel School, depending on your age. All of that is on my website, lindseycortes.com. But because one-on-one spots are limited, I really want to encourage you to join the REDS Recovery membership. We live in a world where it's very easy to just pop online, read an article, listen to a podcast, and I think we do a decent job at getting information out there, but we all need someone to talk to and really ask those personal questions, and also be open and honest in a community that's going to support you in your fueling needs and goals. And that's exactly what this membership is. So only $15 a month. We meet once a week, and you will be provided with so much education and empowerment and support. I know you won't regret joining. Head to lindseycortes.com/REDS, and there you will see the REDS Recovery membership that you can join, and join us this week. It's time for you to be fierce, fit, and fueled. I hope I'm making sense, but I'm going to move on to my second tip, because I mentioned I have 2 kind of major overarching tips to help get you through food in the holiday season. And that first is to get out of the scarcity mindset, like stop over glorifying the food during the season. And the second thing would be to work it in as naturally as possible. And this is when we break down food and look at it from a nutritional perspective. Take the drama out of it of like, oh my God, pies, cookies, they're so full of sugar and fat. Take that out of it and take a slice of pumpkin pie and think about, what the heck is this? All right, well, I've got pretty basic crust. That's some carbs. I've got the pumpkin in there. That's got some vitamin A and beta carotene, good antioxidants, good for my eyes. Pumpkin's actually got some good fiber too. I do have cream and sugar in there as well. So I've got a little bit of fats and I've got some more carbs in there. Now think about yourself. Okay, how does this work into my life? I'm gonna be honest with you, as an athlete, I'm gonna be like, post-workout, you need a lot of carbs. That sugar is gonna help you. Go ahead and have a slice of pumpkin pie post-workout, post-run. Probably just need to bump up the protein. Have it with a big glass, 12 ounces of filtered milk. When I say filtered, it's to make it higher in protein. Or maybe you have a protein shake along with your pumpkin pie. That actually sounds great. A vanilla protein shake with a slice of pumpkin pie. And honestly, like if you do the macros on that even, like that's perfect. We talk about post-workout having like a 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio. Like a big glass of ultra filtered milk, like your Fairlife milk, or a protein shake with a slice of pumpkin pie, it's got to be like, your slice of pie would probably have not much, like 5 grams of protein in it. And then if you get 15 grams or 20 grams through a shake, and you got 20 to 25 grams of protein, and I'm sure your pumpkin pie's got around 50 grams of carbs. That's like a 2-to-1 ratio. That's perfect. So you can work these things in there. And then there's a lot of other treats and the sugary things throughout the holiday season that are great pre-workout as well. Pre-workout, pre-lift, pre-run, pre-practice. So we just came off Halloween. I still have Halloween candy in the house. And a lot of Halloween candy is actually perfect for a pre-workout. Like a little packet of fun-sized Skittles is, I don't know, somewhere around like 14 grams of carbs. And pre-workout, 20 to 30 grams could be a nice little boost. And yeah, it'd be great to have fresh fruit or a fruit strip or slice of whole grain bread for your carbs. And yeah, you can do that too. A pack of fun-sized Skittles, like 14, 15 grams of carbohydrate, have a banana and a pack of fun-sized Skittles. That's a great pre-workout. Or have 2 packets of fun-sized Skittles, and the next day maybe you have that piece of toast with jam pre-workout. You can really work these foods in there as an athlete. So the tip is to work the foods in, and that comes from finding the good in the food. Find the good in the food. Think about what it is. Cranberries, full of antioxidants. There's a lot of nuts in the holiday season too. Pecans, almonds, walnuts. Those are great sources of omega-3s, vitamin E, some fibers in there, healthy fats. There's definitely a lot of carbs in this season. So like, I don't know, dinner rolls, crescent rolls, just extra rolls and bread. There's definitely a lot of carbs. But again, as an athlete, I don't know how, if you're a returning listener, you know how often I'm talking to you about how you need these extra carbs. You need them. You need them as an athlete. 300 grams of carbs a day, 400 grams of carbs a day, 500 grams of carbs a day, 600 grams of carbs a day. I mean, what's a little dinner roll? 20 grams of carbs? Throw it on your plate. It's going to help you. But again, I'm saying work these foods in there. And also going back to tip number 1 is that not every food has to be consumed. You can work in your favorite foods as well. So I'm going to go back to how I was raised, and I'm going to talk about the Thanksgiving holiday because this video will probably be released right before Thanksgiving. And I had a pretty big, well, still do. Sorry, I have a pretty big family, and I haven't been able to get together with them for Thanksgiving for a number of years now. But growing up as a, young kid, teen, and young adult, we would get together with, I don't even know, 30 plus people, it felt like, on Thanksgiving. And so the way we did the meal was like potluck style. Everybody would bring something, which meant that we did have a lot of those like casseroles and kind of foods that maybe didn't fully go together completely, but it's because everybody was bringing something. And my life over the past 15 years, I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving that way. I've been making the Thanksgiving dinner myself. And so it's funny because I've actually worked in my husband's Spanish rice into the Thanksgiving dinner. So I'll make a turkey and I'll do some sort of vegetable that just has a little bit of those Thanksgiving foods in there. So I might do green beans, but I'll add dried cranberries and toasted almonds into the green beans. And then I'll make the Spanish rice. And so maybe I have a salad on the side and pie. And it's like, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we just think in our heads just because it's a holiday meal, something's wrong with it. It's not. You can work in, just like I'm working in the pie into Thanksgiving because I want pie on Thanksgiving. I can also work in the green beans, and I can work in the mixed green salad, and I can work in the roasted turkey. And that at the end of the day isn't that different than my usual Thursday night meal of protein, carbohydrate, vegetable, and some healthy fats in there. It's not that different. So when I'm working with a client, I teach them how to build a plate. And when you're looking at your meal, whether it be breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a holiday meal or Christmas Eve meal, you want to make sure that on your plate, you've got a source of carbohydrate, source of protein, a source of color, meaning fruit or vegetable, maybe even both, and then a source of fat. And I teach it as a piece plate. You've got a third of your plate carb, a third of your plate protein, a third of your plate color, and then 1, 2, or 3 sources of fat on the plate as well. You can do the exact same thing at a holiday meal. You can do the exact same thing. Your proportions don't have to be different than any other day because remember, back to tip number 1, you have an abundant mindset. You can be like, I don't have to eat this all right now because there's going to be leftovers and I can make the same plate tomorrow. Or you can say, I don't have to eat it all right now because I have an abundant mindset and I know that another holiday is right around the corner. So you're working in your favorite foods into a piece plate. And now let's just say that, the way I grew up too on a Thanksgiving meal, that it is a lot of foods that are heavier because it's kind of potluck style. So maybe my vegetables are creamed. Maybe my starch and carbohydrate is in a casserole with extra butter. You're right. Maybe it is an inherently heavier meal. And I can also have what feels normal to me during the other meals of the day. I can create a balanced piece plate, something that feels normal to me for the other meals of the day. So working in one meal, one holiday meal that's a bit heftier or heavier in the calories, in the fat, in the sugar, doesn't have to be what you do all season long. And I do feel like in this conversation, I feel like I'm focusing more on how to balance your plate and sort of like make sure, I hate to say this, but I'm just going to call it what it is. If you're catching my drift that you feel like, oh, Lindsey's talking about not overindulging. Lindsey's talking about finding balance. Lindsey's talking about normalizing and not overeating all throughout the holiday season. And you're right, but that it's because for those of us who restrict throughout the holiday season, because that happens to a lot of people, they just get so scared of the calories, the fat, the sugar that they end up restricting, not enjoying, not participating at all, not eating the foods, and that becomes stressful. But the reason you're doing that is because you are afraid of overindulging. And so I'm trying to teach you how to have the healthy balance. So I could sit here as somebody who historically works with people who struggle with underfueling, and I could sit here and say, eat all the food, embrace the pie. It's going to help you with your REDS recovery. You need the calories, you need the carbs. And yes, and I kind of have said that. I have said you're athletes, you need the carbs. But I could just embrace it. The holidays only come once a year. Just go for it, enjoy it. And yet, if I were to do that's your literal fear coming to life now that you've overindulged and you're not feeling good and you feel sick. And so that then leads you to the next morning, go back to restriction. And I don't want you to do that. So I'm trying to help you see that by having an abundant mindset and working these special holiday foods into a normal day will actually allow you to not overindulge, which helps both types of people, those who typically overindulge or those who typically restrict. Because those who typically restrict are doing so because they're afraid of overindulging. But if you can find a way that you're like, oh, I'm not going to overindulge on Skittles pre-workout because I know just 2 packets is exactly what I need, the exact carbs I need to fuel my run. Oh, I'm overindulging when I have sugar cookies and a protein shake post-workout because I know I just got my carbs and my protein in. Oh, I'm not overindulging when one meal on Christmas Eve is more dense foods because I know that I still had a normal and fueling and nutritious breakfast and lunch. And I know that holidays are going to continue to come around and I can act this way every holiday. And it's not going to become an issue of overindulgence because I have real control because this is my choice. This is not extreme restriction. This is putting foods on my plate that I understand where the balance is of fueling my body, having something work for me, and participating in the holiday. So get out of the scarcity mindset, stop over glorifying the holidays and the holiday food, and just embrace more of an abundant mindset. These foods are always available. You can have them today, you can have them tomorrow, you can have them months from now. And that should give you a bit more freedom and flexibility. And then go ahead and work the foods in when you understand what your body needs nutritionally and you understand that there is a place for these foods, and find the good in the food as well. Find the good in it. Even something like, I don't know, eggnog. I'm like, well, there's still calcium in there. There's something good in that, right? So find the good in it and work it in a way that you are nourishing your body and you also still feel good. So a few final quick tips or pointers to help you feel good throughout this holiday season beyond just the food is to make sure that you are managing stress. Sometimes it's travel stress. Sometimes it's just everything on our to-do list. Sometimes it's seeing family members that can actually become stressful. And so remember that when we think about health, it's not just food. Let's manage stress, and maybe that needs to be priority more so than what you're even putting on your plate. There's so many different ways that we can discuss health, and our stress levels are a huge part of that. Sleep as well. Typically, people tend to sleep more throughout the winter just because the days get shorter, right? And the nights get longer. But maybe not, because if you're so busy and you're so stressed, maybe you're not sleeping well. Or if you are feeling that pressure to exercise or train harder, or, November is like championship season for some fall sports. We got winter sports gearing up. So maybe your schedule is really busy and you're not focusing on sleep. And man, I think sleep is like one of the number one markers of our health. If you're not sleeping enough, everything in your health tends to decline and go down. So you got to make sure you're sleeping enough. Maybe we could focus on hydration. Regardless of what you're eating, can we focus on staying hydrated? Sometimes we're better hydrated during the summer months because we're hotter and we're more inclined to say, oh, I'm thirsty. But when it's cooler out and we're not sweating as much, we're not inclined to drink as much. But drinking enough water and staying hydrated is going to help your health. It's going to make you feel good, boost your mood, and might help with digestion if, as we're talking about, if we are consuming a couple meals or some foods that are a little higher in sugar, calories, or fat. That hydration will help you digest and move all that food through your system. And then we want to focus on movement as well. Like I mentioned, here in Texas, we're actually more active during this time of year than we are in the summer. I went to the playground with my boys twice in one day the other day because I was like, it's nice out. We got to get outside. But if you are in some of those colder weather climates where the days are getting shorter and movement becomes more difficult, maybe it's just different movement. Maybe it's more stretching before bed, or indoor cycling, or doing at-home workouts through YouTube videos. Just finding different types of movement, but continuing to move your body. Now, typically, if you're an athlete, you don't necessarily have that issue of struggling to find exercise and movement during the holiday season. So most people listening to this podcast, I probably have to worry about you doing the opposite end of the spectrum, which is overtraining or compensating with thinking that you have to burn more in order to earn your food. And I don't want you to do that. So really just when it comes to movement, I want you to follow your training plan. Most of you probably have a coach of some sort, whether you're on a competitive team or you've hired a private coach. So it's just following your training plan during this season, because the last thing I want you to do is overwork yourself so you start the new year with an injury or burnout or overtraining syndrome. And that's not what we want to happen. And so again, kind of summarizing here, it's like so often people are scared of gaining weight throughout the holiday season because of the food and the decreased movement. And yet what I see with athletes all the time is we end up being scared of food, so we restrict our food, and we end up overcompensating and overexercising. And then you just end up energy deficient, nutrient depleted. You're in a state of reds, and you start the new year feeling like crap, not because you ate too much pie, but because you just didn't take care of yourself. And so going back to my 2 tips, know that you can embrace these holiday foods without a scarcity mindset to think you have to eat it all right now. Just embrace that holidays are part of life. I can still work in some of my favorite foods. I can recognize the nutrition components. I can work them into my day around my workouts. I can enjoy a larger or more dense holiday meal and still get those foods that I know make my gut and my tummy and my brain and my muscles feel good the rest of the day. Work those foods in, knowing that this happens every year, multiple times a year. We want a mindset of abundance, and we want to continue to nourish ourselves throughout the holiday season with these holiday foods, because all food can be fuel. I hope this episode was helpful. Happy holidays to whichever ones you do celebrate. And I've got a few more solo episodes coming up for you this holiday season and some guests to look forward to as well. Thanks so much for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please help spread the message of empowering female athletes to be fierce, fit, and fueled by giving this podcast a 5-star review and leaving a comment. You can also help more female athletes by sending this episode to a friend. Head to lindseycortes.com for more resources, information, more episodes, ways to work together, downloadable guides and ebooks. And if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show or have a guest suggestion, head to lindseycortes.com/podcast, and there's a form for you to fill out to get on the show. Hey, there's more resources on my YouTube channel, Female Athlete Nutrition, Instagram at female.athlete.nutrition, and private Facebook group, Female Athlete Nutrition. I think you get the point. I'm here to support female athletes by fueling better and becoming fierce, fit, and fueled. Most importantly, if you need help, reach out. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next show.